Now is radio talk show host Hugh Hewitt, who also held many positions in the Reagan, including assistant White House counsel. Hugh, great to have you with us. First, your take on Trump's statement. How are you reading it? Obviously, now it's kind of been divided in these two parts. The first part saying it's time to move on. The second part saying he will sit down and take some briefings from the intelligence officials in this country about this matter.
I view it as a very prudent rejection by the president-elect of the media's narrative that is built all day, that somehow Donald Trump has to respond to everything our president does. We have one president at a time. That's been the popular refrain. I think it's correct. And he is going to get briefed in. I think he wants to talk to General Mattis, General Kelly, the incoming head of Homeland Security. I think he wants to talk to Mike Pompeo, his incoming CIA director. He hadn't even named his director of national intelligence yet. So when I read that statement and heard you read it to the audience, I thought to myself, very smart, because I don't think we'll be talking about President Obama's failed Russian policy 30 days from now. We're not going to be talking about the red line in Syria. We're not going to be talking about the withdrawal of missile defense from Poland and the Czech Republic. We're not going to be talking about the reset button. Or even this June, when this originally came to the president, the harassment of our diplomats. He was originally presented in June with sanctions options, and President Obama rejected that. So I agree with Senate Majority Leader McConnell and Speaker Ryan. It's too little, it's too late, but better late than never, and that Russia is not our friend. I'm quoting Senator McConnell specifically. The hawks on this have always been the Republicans. Mitt Romney tried to make this an issue in 2012, and you remember President Obama dismissed him as saying the 80s called and want their foreign policy back. So his collapse of his policy has come home to roost. I don't think Donald Trump wants to get into the wreckage of that burned down house.
So Hugh, if you think the policy, Obama's policies have failed with Russia in particular, in that, as you were saying, that you've taken the position, a similar position, that Russia is not our friend, maybe not going so far as saying it is our enemy, but certainly not our friend, then why would you see this statement as being a smart one as opposed to saying he would uphold the sanctions? I mean, if Donald Trump called you today, what would you say to him about these sanctions going forward? Keep them in place or revoke them?
I would be very modest about because I don't know. There's a highly intelligent, highly classified set of things going on right now. Michael O'Hanlon was on last hour with Peter Alexander saying that President Obama has, in one sense, done President-elect Trump a favor by giving him some cudgels to use or some carrots to plant going down the road. But I would be very hesitant, and I think a lot of the talking heads have to be much more humble about this at this point, because today Turkey and Russia agreed to negotiate the future of Syria without us. Our position in the world has been dramatically compromised by the fantasyland foreign policy of President Obama. So if I'm President-elect Trump, I do what Sean Spicer did on my radio show this morning and say, wait and see, we're going to have an amazing 9 hours on the first day of the inauguration, and then we're going to have an amazing 9 months, and quite interestingly, Sean Spicer said, a great 8 years. Their strategic planning should not be in any way impacted by the thrashing around of the last few weeks of the Obama administration, even though this particular thrash around is a good one, in my view.
All right, Hugh, there's so much to get to, but unfortunately we're going to have to leave it at that with all this breaking news this hour. Great to talk to you.
Thank you.